Stravoy! Oh.
In this video, I am building a medieval church with a cemetery in The Sims 4. I'm building this for my Ultimate Decade Challenge playthrough that I started recently. You can check it out if you're interested, playlist will be linked in the description down below. And I feel like my Sims in that save file need a place where they can go and connect with the Watcher. And also they will need cemetery soon. And I picked very big lot for this because I'm expecting to have a lot of graves over a long time playing through this challenge. I have reference photo for this build that I picked of this little church. It looked like not too big of a church, and that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to make it nice but not too grand. I really liked these architectural details on this building, the little pieces of the walls that come out on the side of the wall and on the corners. They probably have a name. And I tried to imitate them using chimneys from Cottage Living. And I think they work pretty well for that. These pieces of the wall come out further on original pictures than my chimneys, but I think it still gives that vibe. Another detail that I also really like and kind of don't know how to imitate properly in The Sims is the ends of the roofs, how end of the roof a little bit raised. I try to do that in The Sims using a separate piece of the roof. It looks a little bit like it. I mean, in the end, I'm pretty happy with how my church turned out in The Sims. I put it all the way in the back of the lot, and front part will be a cemetery. Maybe in the future, as I play through Ultimate Decades challenge in 100 years, I will go back to this lot and make this church bigger, more decorative, grander, or maybe add a whole another building here that could be a monastery. I want to leave a potential for growth. But I think for now this works really well as a small church for a pretty small town. I'm playing in Hereford-on-Begley. I used some debug pieces for columns on the corners of tower because I didn't like any of the columns that are in game. None of them are thick enough for what I wanted. I also tried to limit myself to how many packs I'm using for this build. I don't usually do limited pack builds. It's either base game only or every pack that I own. But this build is happy medium. I used Cottage Living, Werewolves, Get Together, Eco Lifestyle and Seasons. On the inside, obviously all these chimneys are poking out from the outside, so I covered them by building rooms around them and raising platforms inside of those little rooms, so even when you have your walls down, you wouldn't see those chimneys. And I can use little niches created by it for candles to place a lot of candles, which is exactly what I did. I just built another room, raised platform to where windows start, so it basically looks like very big window sills, and put a lot of Eco Lifestyle candles on them from Eco Lifestyle Debug. There is a weird candle in Eco Lifestyle Debug that doesn't burn. It glows, but it doesn't burns out. It doesn't melt like all the other Eco Lifestyle candles that you actually craft. It's the exact candle I used in here because I don't want them to burn out and then this church would be like completely in the dark. I put a lot of seating. I used benches from Get Together and made a small podium where priest will be talking or pastor. I don't know difference. I had genius idea to put a microphone behind a little table on that podium, so when your priest will come up there, they could talk into microphone, but because I sized down that microphone, it wouldn't be visible. I was so happy about that idea until I play tested it and realized that they actually hold microphone in their hands. For some reason I thought it would stay on the stand. But it would work if you want a modern church, not so much for medieval church. So scratch that. I added some smaller details. I'm going to be really honest with you, I don't really know what goes into the church, except place for people to sit and place for priests to talk. I added more candles to make place brighter so you can actually see what's happening. Added a couple stone benches right at the front door for people just sit and rest. And in that tower there is a small area. I added staircase all the way to the top, and ideally I would want to have a bell at the top. I couldn't come up with idea how to make a bell in The Sims 4 unless we have one somewhere buried in debug and I just don't know about it. So no bell, but staircase is here. On the first floor in the tower part there is a sink and a trash can. I thought these two objects could be useful for gameplay needs. We also have toilet outside. I built a little tiny outhouse with just toilet in it, so your Sims will be annoyingly walking all the way inside the church towards their hands. And I actually barricaded stairs on the first floor, so all the other floors in the tower are basically unusable. I decorated second floor. I put a big bookshelf and bed from werewolves in here to suggest that someone may live here or sometimes stay here for the night. Maybe priest sometimes stays here. It's mostly a reminder for me that in the future there is maybe a monastery on this lot. And third floor hides a lot type requirement objects. I made this lot national park purely because national park has the least amount of required objects. It only needs a trash can, a picnic table and a grill, and trash can is a normal object, you can fit it in anywhere, but a picnic table and a grill seemed kind of wrong to put on the cemetery, so I just shoved them on the third floor. No one is supposed to be actually going up there. Oh, and I also added a fireplace in the main room for winter services, so they all won't freeze. After that I moved on to the outside, to the cemetery part. I added plants, a little bit of landscaping, because I wanted to leave a lot of open space for graves. I added plants from Cottage Living Debug, those tiny ones, tiny weeds, tiny pieces of grass. I love them, they add so much. I did a couple of trees, so this lot would look so bare and much better with surrounding. I also added flowers. I will sprinkle them in between graves. I want this cemetery to have really old look, not as structured as modern cemeteries are, but we will have a structured part also. On the side I put a fence from Debug also because I wanted a broken pieces of fence, and there is where structured part would be, and the part in front of the church would be unstructured. I think it makes it look older. Again, I'm building this for gameplay, and I'm actually planning on putting this in my world and playing with it and coming here with my Sims and slowly replacing all these debug gravestones with actual in-game gravestones that will represent each of my Sims passing. That's all I have to say about this build. This one is kind of on the simpler side and I needed it. Last build that I did was a goth castle. I built a medieval castle for goth family. If you're interested in that video, I will link it in the description down below. That was a lot, so I needed this small and simple church. If you like this video, don't forget to leave it a like, comment on it and subscribe. And if you're interested in historical gameplay in The Sims, maybe check my Ultimate Decade Challenge playlist, and I see you in the next one. Until then, bye! I leave you with sad cutscene of Caliante family burying Marcus Flex, which is such a random piece of lore.
Sobe. Zoi, Organ Dens, Bozar.
Inha!
Shai. Listen. Steve. Obey. Yabawar. No. Oh.